Did you actually think getting matches on dating apps was going to be easy? I did, but boy oh boy, did it take me a long time to learn what worked and what didn't. So in today's video, I'm gonna give you 20 hard truths in 20 minutes on what actually works and what doesn't. Let's go. Okay, lesson number one, and this will really set the stage for the majority of the video, but just know there are about 65% of guys on dating apps compared to about 35% of females. And if you go to something like Tinder, it's even 75% guys. But don't worry, in the next section, we're gonna talk about how to stand out and get more matches, but just know it is a large number of guys to female ratio on the dating apps. Lesson number two, and I'm gonna really break this down in section number three, but know for now that girls are gonna unmatch you fast. And you might be thinking, like, why does this happen? Well, typically speaking, it comes down to about 5 to 8 main things that guys do wrong, and I was that guy at one point, but I'll tell you later in the video how to avoid those things, learn from mistakes, that way you can actually keep your matches. Okay, the last lesson of the harsh reality, before we get more to the fun stuff we'll talk about, but lesson number three is gonna be conversations and plans will die a lot of the time. So what do I mean by that? I don't know how many times I could tell you, like, let's say I'm talking to a girl on the Sunday or the Monday, and maybe we'll make plans for the Friday or the Saturday, but then it starts getting closer to that day, and then maybe I'll message her or I'll text her and be like, hey, we're still on, right? Like, or we meet at this time, like, whatever. And then she'll message back like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm just not feeling well, or I forgot I had these plans, or sometimes she just won't respond altogether. So just note, just because you make plans with a girl or you're having a good conversation with a girl, there's a good chance those plans eventually will die, especially if you're planning them later on in the week. And I don't say this to like kind of scare you, but I just want to mentally prepare you for it because this is brutally honest dating advice. But now that we got the negative stuff out of the way, let's get to section number one, where we're talking about more positive things and how to really stand out on the dating apps. Okay, now that you understand the competition, how do you win? Well, lesson number four, I got a big one for you, but it's gonna be you have to niche down. So what do I mean by that? You have to know exactly what kind of girl you're looking to be with, and you have to base and make your profile, your dating profile, exactly to the kind of girl that you want to be with. So like, what kind of girl are you looking for? Is it like a fitness girl? Is it like a sports girl? Is it more like a quiet introverted girl? Is it like a hipster? So like whatever kind of girl that you want, you have to make your profile kind of basing it off what she likes. Because if you try to go way too broad, and we'll get more into that in just a few minutes, you're going to attract no one. Because remember I told you, there's at least 65% of guys on the dating apps. And if you're just way too broad, I promise you, you're gonna have to attract no one. You're going to attract no one, I should say. So pick a niche and own that niche. I know it sounds funny, but just kind of think of it this way. Like for me, I'm a fitness guy. So that would make me handing my resume. Let's say I'm applying to a gym to become like a personal trainer. That's like me giving my resume to the gym, but I'm not really showing too much my past personal training experience. And I just show like me being at like FedEx, because I used to do like a package handler, or like my warehouse work. It really wouldn't make much sense, right? Like I'm just going to show all the jobs I did, but I didn't really focus on my fitness jobs. Then it's just way too broad, and they're probably going to overlook me. But if they see my resume and it's like really geared towards fitness, everything's kind of dialed in, then I have a better chance of getting that job. It's the exact same thing on a dating app. Niche down your profile the best you can. I promise you, if you do that, you're already 1 or 2 steps ahead of the next guy. Okay, lesson number five, you have to stand out on your dating profile. So what do I mean by that? When a girl sees your profile, you want to make sure you have something, whether it's like a picture, something funny, like whatever it is that really captures her attention. And as we say in social media, you want something to do to stop the scroll, right? If you're in social media, like let's say you're on Instagram or TikTok on Reels, you kind of know what I'm talking about. You're just kind of going up like that. You're just kind of flicking through it. But if you see something that kind of really pops off, you stop it and then you watch it. Right? But there's so many videos out there, if it doesn't capture attention right away, you're like, next, next, next. And it's probably the exact same thing for you on social media. Like if you see like a profile that doesn't really pop right away for a girl, you're probably just like left, 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 or maybe you're all right, I don't really know. But what I'm trying to say is that you want to make sure you have something that really stands out for a girl, because if you don't, she's just gonna scroll right past you and you're gonna be forgotten, which is what we don't want. Okay, lesson number 6, show off your best attributes. Like for me, I'm not a tall guy, so I'm not gonna flaunt my height on the dating apps. For me, my best thing was my body because I'm a fitness guy. So I really like to show off my body on the dating apps, like some tan talk pictures, maybe some shirtless pictures on Tinder. And kind of like I said before, it's very niche and it's polarizing, right? Like some girls are gonna say like, "Fuck this guy, like he's a d-bag, like I want nothing to do with him." But some girls, including my girlfriend, was really attracted to it. And you just want something that's polarizing, that's going to really show off your best attributes. So like maybe for you it is like fitness, your body. Maybe for you, you look good in suits. Like maybe you're doing something like funny. Like whatever it is, you want to show it off and then really double down on it, which is going to lead me to the next point, which kind of ties into this one right now. Lesson number 7, have a balance of pictures, but don't deviate too far from your niche. So I'll explain what I did and I'll explain how you can set this up for yourself as well. So for me, I had 3 main categories I really showed off on my pictures. Number 1 was my fitness and body. I already explained that. Number 2, sports. Like I'm a big sports guy, like football, hockey, baseball, big Bills fan. And the third thing I really showed off as well was just like kind of like drinking, hanging out with my friends. Because like that's essentially my life. Like it's fitness, it's sports, hang with my friends, and obviously some downtime watching Netflix. And I really showed off 3 of those categories. But imagine if I just showed off like so many different things of me. Like I'm not saying I did these things, but imagine if I had those things and then I posted a picture of like me watching Love is Blind with like a glass of wine, something like that. Or I'm just like meditating another picture, or I'm like playing the piano. Like a girl's gonna look at my profile like who the fuck is this guy, right? So what I'm trying to say is like definitely have like different amounts of pictures you want to show off, but don't go more than 3, I would say, maybe 4 maximum. Have your theme you're trying to show off, but just don't show a bunch of random pics because you really want to show the girl who you are. Remember that thing's all we talked about before. And then once she understands who you are, she can decide if she's for you or not. And it's just pretty clear cut from there. Okay, section number 2, how to start and maintain conversation. And lesson number 8 that I have for you that worked great for me is you want to say something bold to her right away. So what do I mean by that? So what I would do, like if I'd match with a girl, I would go to her profile and I would see if I can find like a picture or maybe a quote she said, and I would try to say something maybe sarcastic. I'm a sarcastic guy, and like this sense of humor is kind of right up my alley. So I would just say something pretty bold to her, like a chirp, or just something that really stood out that would capture her attention. And a lot of the times it worked well for me. It was a great conversation starter. And don't get me wrong, there were times like I was blocked, but by now you know you have to stand out and you know that you might get blocked anyways. So what I want you to try to do is just say something bold that's going to capture her attention. Now, obviously, like don't say to her, "Okay, baby, like I want to bang you tonight." Like that's not going to end well. She's going to block you right away. But just say something like funny if you can, or whatever your thing is that's going to separate you from the rest. And like I said, there's a chance that you might get blocked. If it does, like don't come yelling at me. It might happen, but I promise you there's a better chance you're going to stand out to her compared to like 95% of the other guys. Okay, lesson number 9, and this kind of feeds into lesson number 8, but what you don't want to be is you don't want to be boring. So believe me on that, like when I used to talk to girls and, the first few months was a little bit tough for me in dating apps, I felt like I was a pretty boring guy. I can be pretty conservative. I'm like, "Hey, how's your day going? Hey, what are you up to? Or what do you do for work?" Like all kind of that bullshit conversation, right? Like, and I'm not saying there's not a time and place for that, because like there is, and you have to read the room, and we'll talk about more about that later. But overall, you don't want to be boring on the dating apps, and you want to say stuff to her that's going to excite her and really kind of capture her attention. All the stuff I just kind of talked about before, so I don't want to rehash it. What I'm trying to say to you is overall, with a conversation, try not to be boring. Again, there's a time and place for it. I get it. I understand that. But 95% of the time, just say things that are going to stand out to her, and you want her to really be interested in you. And the way to do that is don't be boring. Lesson number 10, and if you don't have this trait, don't worry about it. But if possible, try to be as funny as you can. Now, I'm in the middle of doing a survey right now, and I'm asking 1,000 ladies, like, what's the number 1 attribute they want on a guy? And so far, like, sense of humor is blowing everyone out of the water. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, when I made the change from, like, being boring on the dating apps to being more of myself, like, I just got so much more success from it. But again, if you're not funny, like, don't force it, right? Like, I'm not a car guy. Like, I'm not going to try to force being a car guy because it just won't end well. So what I'm trying to say is, like, stick to your lane for sure. But if you are funny, definitely try to show it off the best you can, because believe me, girls absolutely love a sense of humor. Lesson number 11, show a lot of interest in her and try not to talk too much about yourself. So do you remember that scene in 4-Year-Old Virgin when he's in that store and Seth Rogen tells, I can't remember the actor's name, the guy from Evan Almighty, whatever he is, The Office. He tells the guy, Steve Carell, and he tells Steve Carell, he's like, whatever you do, just like keep asking her questions. So he goes up to her and he's like, hey, what are you looking for? And she says the answer, and then he keeps asking her questions, and then she starts like laughing, and eventually I believe like he gets her phone number. Like, I'm not saying you have to be that obnoxious, like don't ask the girl like 20 questions in a row, because that's kind of weird. But point being is you want to show interest in her, and you want to make sure you're not talking too much about yourself. Because think about it, right? Like even at the gym, like for me, I like to ask people questions, like that's the kind of person I am. But even some guys, some gentlemen who came up to me, I was doing an exercise and he's like, hey, what does that work? And what's it good for? And I told him, like, oh, it's good for the glutes. It's fantastic for you. And he kind of kept asking me questions. And I can tell he was like generally interested in what I had to say. And for me, it just made me feel good, right? Like when someone's generally interested in you, it makes you feel good. And I promise if you apply that same logic to girls, and you got to make sure it's genuine though, right? Like don't ask her, sup, how you doing? Right on, what are you up to? Like, it has to be genuine, like you asking her questions, right? But if it's genuine interest in her, I promise you that's going to make you a lot more attractive to her. So I'll give that a shot. Give her attention. Try not to talk too much about yourself. Lesson number 12, state what you're looking for on your dating profile and don't ask her what she's interested in. Let me tell you a funny story. So about week 2 of Hinge, I think in my profile, I had like long-term, open to short, something like that. So like very vague. Again, you want to find something, just whatever you're looking for, state it. Like if it's casual, it's casual. If it's relationship, say relationship. So I was talking to this girl, like it was the night of, like a few messages in, like it was going pretty good start. And then I asked her, I'm like, oh, so by the way, like what are you looking for in this app? I checked back like 5 minutes later. Unmatched. And this actually it wasn't the first time it happened to me as well. I got unmatched by asking another girl that probably a few weeks later. And then I finally learned my lesson after a bit of trial and error. So you don't want to ask a girl what they're looking for. You want to state what you're looking for on your profile, and you want to assume that they want the exact same thing. And if you ask a girl like what they're looking for, especially if you have like long-term, open and short, it comes across, honestly speaking, as you're probably just looking to bang her and not get in a relationship. That's probably what she thought of me, at least. So make sure you state exactly what you want, whether it's casual, short-term, relationship. State what you want. Like don't have like still figuring it out. Believe me, like I had that on Tinder, and again, Tinder, I had some success from it, but just you want to make sure what you're stating exactly, and then just don't ask her what she's looking for. You want to assume that if you have, relationship stated in your profile, that she's looking for the exact same thing. Lesson number 13, and this will be a very fast one. Don't talk about your ex unless she asks. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Like the last thing a girl wants to hear is you talking about your ex-girlfriend. So just don't talk about your ex. Try to avoid talking about her ex as well, because you don't want to get in the friend zone. If it comes later in the day when you start dating, get serious, that's a different story. But one of the first few conversations, you definitely don't want to talk about either exes if possible. Lesson number 14, don't ask a girl for her address unless it's appropriate. So I've been burned with this multiple times where I've asked a girl like, hey, like what's your address? I'll come pick you up. And next thing I know, unmatched. So it just comes across a bit as kind of creepy when you're asking a girl for her address. But I did say, unless the situation is appropriate, like obviously if you know that you're picking her up and like that's been established, then obviously you have to ask her for her address. You're not just gonna like randomly guess picking her up, like that won't end well. But just know, like, and read the room in terms of that situation, that you don't want to just blindly ask for her address. And if you're not sure if you're picking her up on the first date or you're meeting somewhere, you can just be a gentleman and say like, hey, I know it's like the first date, so it's 100% up to you. I can pick you up if you like, or we can meet somewhere. Just kind of something like that, opposed to saying, it's supposed to be a creep like me and saying, I'm going to pick you up at your address on, X date. It just comes across a bit weird. And if you do that, there's a better chance it's going to get you blocked. Lesson number 15, don't ask a girl for her Snapchats. Now, if it's like super casual and you're just more for casual stuff, then obviously that's a different story. But if you're looking to be in a relationship with a girl, the last thing you want to do is ask for her Snapchat, and probably another extra bonus lesson. Like if you have Snapchat, don't send a dick pic. Like girls don't want that. But don't ask for a girl's Snapchat. Again, when you do ask them for that, it just comes across like you want to send some inappropriate photos and you're looking to receive some inappropriate photos. So again, if you're on the casual side, okay, fine, fair enough. But if you have any ounce of you want to take it to a relationship, don't do it, because if you do and you ask her for a Snapchat, she's probably going to think you're a creep and she's probably going to block you or just ghost you. Okay, section number 4, how to move from chat to date. We're humming along pretty good here. And lesson number 16 I have for you is going to be give her space, but not too much space, and make sure you read the room. So what do I mean by that? So when you're talking with a girl, you want to make sure like you're not bombarding her with texts right away, right? It's kind of, I don't want to say weird, but it's not a good look if like she texts you and you're responding like 30 seconds later, especially if she messages like an hour, from previous to your last text. So you want to make sure you do give her like some space in terms of like how fast you respond. But on the other end, like you don't want to be a dick and respond like a day or two later, right? So it's all about trying to find the sweet spot. And what worked really well for me was just matching her energy. So for example, if she responded half hour later, I would probably respond somewhere in that range between 20 to 40 minutes. If she responded within like 5-10 minutes, I'd probably respond in 5-10 minutes. If she responded like super fast within like still a minute or two, I typically would wait about still like 2 to 5 minutes, but read the room, try to match her energy, make sure you're not like giving, quick texts right away, because it's not a good look, right? If she's, texts you a day later and then within 5 minutes you're messaging her, it just comes across a bit as clingy. But like I said before, just make sure at the other end that, if she messages you within 20 minutes, you don't take like 8 hours to respond, because that's also a dick move. Lesson number 17, and this is a big one. Read the room, but don't assume. So let's break it down. So when you're talking to a girl, like let's say it's not really going in the place you think. Like let's say she's giving you like, a few word answers and she's really not giving you much, and you basically think the conversation's done and you're just either going to stop talking to her or you're just going to like unmatch her basically right away. I made the mistake a couple times with a few girls, but you got to know like what kind of girl are you talking to? Because some girls like don't like sending big texts. So for me, I remember I had probably at least 2 to 3 girls where they're giving like a few word answers, and what I would typically do is just like, I'm trying to be polite and gentleman, and also like a way, maybe a potential way to go on a date to kind of keep it open. I'm like, oh, like my bad, like sorry for bothering you. It sounds like you're busy, and like all the best to you, or something like that. And then those few times I said that, those girls right away, you're like, oh, hey, no, sorry, like, my apologies, like I was just busy, or I don't like text a lot. Can we do a phone call later? So it's pretty crazy, and that's why I say like read the room, like obviously match her energy in terms like if she's giving you one word answers and like if she's responding a lot, but also don't assume, because some girls just like don't like texting a lot and they're actually busy. So that's an underrated one. If you assume, I promise you, you're gonna miss out on dates. Just know the type of girl you're talking to. And obviously, if you guys are sending like massive texts and all of a sudden it's like one word answers and she's responding like 6 hours later, then that's where I say read the room. It's probably over, but don't assume. Lesson number 18, and this is a game changer, but you want to be assertive when you're asking a girl on a date. So what I mean by that is you don't want to be passive. So let's say the time comes and, you probably should ask that girl on a date now. Let's say you've been talking for a little bit. What you don't want to do is like, hey, so are you free this weekend? Or hey, did you want to hang out? It's very passive, and I promise you, most girls aren't going to like that. I say most girls because there are some that won't care, but the more assertive you can be, and I'll explain what you can say in just 1 minute, the better it's going to be for girls. And I promise you, I made that change from like being passive to more assertive, and it did so many wonders for me. So here's what you can say, for example. Like, let's say you're talking to a girl and you want to ask her on a date. Be assumption, like you want to assume that she wants to hang out with you. So say like, hey, like I'm free on Friday or Monday. I would love to grab a coffee with you, for example. What day works better for you? So you're giving her the option to choose a day, opposed to saying, hey, do you want to hang out? Because when you ask her if she wants to hang out, she can say yes, or she can say no. But you're asking her basically what day she's available or what day she wants to hang out. You're just giving her the option, and it's more just using that assumptive language, which is going to help you in talking to a girl. Think if you've ever been in a sales call. Like when a guy's trying to sell you something, he's not going to say like, hey, do you want to buy this? No, he's not going to say that. He's going to basically say the price and shut up, or he's going to say, how do you want to pay? MasterCard or Visa, right? So it's the same thing with a girl. Assume that she wants to hang out with you and be assertive with that. If you do that, I promise you, you have a much better chance of landing a date with that girl. Okay, now the mindset shift and real life strategy. Lesson number 19, I want you to go in with an all or nothing mindset. When I made that change, I'm like, I'm going to dating apps, I expect to get dates, like, and I'm stressed about it. It really took a toll, like, on me, like, mentally. But if you go into it, almost expecting, I don't want to say expect the worst, but like, expecting almost not getting much from it. If you have that, you don't care if you don't go on a bunch of dates, I promise you, you're actually going to have a better chance of succeeding because you're more loose. You're going to be yourself. If you're trying to like if you're really stressing about it and you're talking to girls, unless you're a little bit nervous, they're going to sense that and you're going to tighten up and you're just not going to be yourself. But if you go in with that, like, okay, I assume it's not going to work out, but if it does, fantastic kind of mindset, it loosens you up, it relaxes you, and just makes you talk. It just makes talking to girls so much easier, because I felt like I used to really struggle with that when I first started. Like, I was very tight because I wanted dates with the girls. I just found myself like more boring, and I just wasn't myself when I was like really stressing about it. But when I didn't give a fuck, it just became so much easier for me. I got more dates, and I can actually show off my true personality. Lesson number 20, don't rely just on dating apps to talk to girls. Talk to girls in person as well. At the very least, like, let's say you approach ladies in person, what it's going to do for you, like, even if you don't get her number or whatever it may be, it's going to make you more confident, and you're going to be able to handle rejection better, because I promise you, if you're on the dating apps, as you probably know by now, like, rejection is going to happen. And the more you just get comfortable talking to ladies in person, whether it leads to a date or not, it's going to improve your confidence. It's going to improve your handling of rejection. And the more you can do that, the more thick-skinned you're going to be, and the more bulletproof that you're going to be overall. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, I should say, please like, subscribe. I'm going to talk some more fitness stuff, dating stuff, all this stuff coming up. We're just starting this channel, and we're going to keep it growing and keep it going. I'm never going to stop posting. So please make sure to subscribe if you did enjoy it, and we'll talk soon.